Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik and this is a game War in the Pacific Admirals Edition, and today we will check the play by email match against Jochen. This will be the 13th March of 1942, so nearly maybe a little more than 2 weeks left for the Japanese player, in this case me, to use this amphibious assault bonus the Japanese have at the beginning of the war. After that you will have more trouble to unload your troop ships over time. Good, last turn we saw some soft activities all over the map. My carriers finished one cargo ship near to New Zealand, but not much more. Now Jochen's still making night bombardment on Infante. No real damage here. And he comes back to Bangkok at night, and I have no real way to stop him. But my flag maybe can damage his bomber, so... And today no kill on the ground, at least so far. And this was the only attack at night. Okay. I moved some of my airplanes, my Nell bombers, Betty bombers, everything what is likely to get killed, I moved away. This was a source of Fiji, so this was maybe the one cargo ship I saw last turn already on the map. My submarine tried to sink it, but failed. Additional unloading here in the Philippines. There's still so many bases I have to occupy or to liberate. And again, no Navy engagement at night or at day. So we skip and had already the morning strikes. So the New Zealand Air Force or the American Air Force catch my carriers, but of course that is nothing so special. But this is a little strange. You can see Dauntlesses, torpedo bombers are over Port Blair. So there is something incoming, and surprisingly in my poor destroyers. But let's see. The Catalina is detecting my AMC, local minesweeper. I try to hide there. I'm waiting that I can normally take over the base of Darwin, because I don't want that someone throw mines in my port, and then if I'm unloading, loading some stuff like this. With Kilroy I had these issues, so I'm a little sensitive for this. Light bombardment, or I still use my light bombers to attack here north of Xi'an again. I can create damage, but not the kills. This is game mechanical stuff. I task my bombers to attack, I think, I don't know more, where I attacked the turn before, but I give the order to attack the base. The turn before they attack a unit, then this bomber is locked to this unit, and if it's still in range, don't know why, but the game know, or the bomber air force or the air wing know where this unit was moving. So my commander more or less choose to follow this unit because it was more or less locked to this unit by last turn. This is why I attack in this base. It was not my command to attack this. I only forgot to change the order to give again the order, attack the base. Yeah. But I no real handicap for me. I mean, I had here some damage units, but I also disable many, so it is okay. But only if some people maybe ask why I attack now so far away behind the front line. Again. I try to hurt this Dutch forces, but the damage I create is more or less too little for my damage airplanes to compensate for this war, to justify all this effort. I maybe let this Dutch, British, American forces in Borneo simply run into the jungle, and so long they stay in the jungle, it doesn't matter. If they come ever to the coastline or to one of my bases, I maybe strike them down. So some of my dive bombers are picking up this single AK in the port of Suva. So this story is also over. The other carrier force pick up now this AK my submarine just missed. But also nothing more to see here. 2 AKs less for Jochen to use in the future. But AKs I think he have more than enough. So this is a surprise. Yeah, there are enemy carriers source west of Port Blair. I normally have scouts running 20 hexes source west of Bangkok, but maybe, yeah, Jochen come just in the moment out, in the right moment, let's say this, and he think now or damage my destroyers and minesweepers in the hex of Problem. Yeah. A very lucky combination for him. So my destroyers are more or less already dead in this moment. One is going down immediately. It is a very, it's at the end, it's frontline hex. I cannot make sure that there's no enemy units. I know that there are allied carriers nearby. So I could have maybe used some more patrol boats more west of Port Blair to cover this, but yeah, you always make some mistakes. Sometimes you make small mistakes, and in this case it's also a combination of what you make wrong, what you could do better, and if the allied or the enemy player can capitalize on this and really use this. And in this case Jochen was able to make my mistake to a really hurtful mistake. Now he's coming back with still a dozen more dive bombers and finish my already burning destroyers. So both destroyers are dead. More I cannot find out of this. I can only see that Jochen using Wildcat, so he have already updated, or he changed his air wings, his fighter wings. Not more buffaloes, but it's already March, so it would make sense. So his air cover is stronger and now equally strong like my Zeros. So I only can hope that maybe my land attack phase will have some something to soften up this losses on the Navy side. So shock attack and palm bang. I can crash the fort, but I cannot take the base immediately. So yeah, and much more losses or disabled units for the Dutch forces. Roughly, maybe roughly double, very roughly. Most important is fort is down and the shock attack was not a failure, so I'm now in the base. So I switched to some bombardment here in the north. And yeah, the bombardment is not so bad. I can disable more and even destroy some Chinese squads. Next attack on Darwin. Fort is down, but base is still under Australian command. No destroyed units nearly for me, but more and more disabled. And for the Allied forces, they are dying. And this is this pickup source of Tarakan. I take the base, but both Dutch units running again into the jungle. I can only hope that there's no attack value left, so that this unit simply, even if they walk into my bases, they cannot more take them back. So it's a walking shell, hopefully. Because I see here no disabled units, so I think everything must be destroyed or disabled already. Nothing more is intact. Hopefully. Good. So, I would say, and of course not a good turn for me. Losing 2 frontline destroyers is always hurtful for Japan. I was not able to take Palmbang, I was not able to take Darwin. But both battles, maybe tactical, I won them both. I can create more damage on the enemy side, but I was not able to take over the base, so yeah. And a victory for Jochen, that for sure. This day is in favor for Jochen, for the Allies. But it's also not a disaster like losing Kaga a long time ago. Or if my attacks on Changsha failed miserably. So, air losses today 4-1, so, and 3 of the dive bombers maybe missing the air brake and smashing in the sea. Maybe American kamikaze, I don't know. And 1 Catalina is written off. And for me, it's only a light bombers in the air campaign against the Chinese bandits. So, but this is all very lightly, so nothing really happens here. This 1 pilot is also not even killed, so still fine. Ship sunk, so 2 of these Australian cargo ships, okay, but it doesn't matter really. They are both medium range, no big capacity. My destroyers these are the weakest first class destroyers, I would still say. Still, every destroyer has this 5-inch gun. I count first class. Everyone can count as different, but for me these are frontline first class destroyers. They have the better sub-hunter equipment, they have long range attack torpedoes, and they have dual purpose guns. And in the combination with all of this together, I call them frontline or first class destroyer. And losing both of them is of course, 2 less for me. And the Japanese destroyer production is really roughly 1 destroyer per month. So I have now lost in total all days Allied, Japanese, destroyer. So these are all destroyers I lost so far. All are, I don't know if you call this, these are normally not frontline destroyers for my calculation because they're using this 4.5-inch and yeah, but I don't know if you won't count them first class. But you can see that I lost at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frontline destroyers. And we are only in March, so I only produced 3 new, so I already 3 down. And on top of this, I also lost 3 of this, not so well good destroyers, old class design. Yeah. Luckily, I only really lost only these destroyers, 2 light cruisers, and nothing, at least from this kind of view. But of course, I lost also 2 carriers. This is maybe the biggest blow. So Kara and Huyo, both good carriers. This is a light carrier official, but I would say this is like a fleet carrier, nearly. Both are important ships, and I lost them. Good. Here in Xi'an, the bombardment was okay, but this will of course not win the battle for me. Here in the source, I still see no movement. If I make always pictures of every base, more or less every turn, if the weather not to ground my recon airplanes, and I can see that units are moving west. This was one of the unit. My bombers follow up. I think Jochen moves them back to this base, and then I don't know what he's doing. So he's moving units west, but nothing is moving to this hex, so I still continue my walk behind the line of juncture. And we are now at 30. So we make, I think a unit make roughly 15 miles if you walk on normal road. So I need 2 more turns to arrive at the hex. Good. And then we will know what happens. 2 more turns, and then it's the choice or the decision if this is a successful operation or a disaster. Palmbang, I crossed the river, but I cannot take the base. Okay. Maybe don't skip over the disaster of Port Belair, but there's normally simply not more much to see because there is no ship left. I move out with my minesweeper to make sure that there's no mine. Okay, that is normal. And I use both of my destroyers to hunt this British submarine down I saw. And I was worried that maybe there's an airstrike from Rangoon coming, but that there's carriers coming and attacking me sneakily from behind without really let me know this. So a very backstabbing attack, similar, very common for the Allies. They never really let you know that they are coming. They always try to sneak in and do this kind of shadow work. No honor. I have now 2 choices. I can bring in 0 fighters because luckily my transportation was successful, so I am here with enough aviation support. I had normally dive bombers, and these dive bombers I would normally use for hunting the enemy submarine. But now I can maybe say, okay, I take out the dive bombers and bring in some zeros, so that if Jochen will make a second airstrike, then I can fight over my own airbase. If he make a port strike, because I have still here ships in port, then I can maybe hurt him. The only critical part is that this port have no mines, this port have no coastal battery, so if Jochen will make a coastal bombardment, then he maybe catch my air force on the ground. I can only hope that even if he do this, he have not the firepower to kill too many of my fighter pilots or my airframes. Good. So much to this story. Here's nothing more to say. I take here this one of the last bases of Borneo, so there's really not more much to do. Battle of Darwin, again, no success, but the Australians are slowly dying, and you can also see that Jochen is moving units out of the hex, so he knows that he cannot hold Darwin, so he's trying to escape. This will make it more easy for me to take Darwin. Here in Mindanao, still I walk into the hex, need more time. Here in near New Zealand, no activity. I simply go back to Suva now with my carriers. I arrive at Suva base with my Navy Guard unit, so I will try to attack next turn. And also a full division is arriving here at Suva, so if my Navy Guard guys cannot take the base next turn, I can move in with the division, and then latest the division will make sure that Suva is soon under the rule of the Japanese Empire, and I can free all of these people and give them new working contracts for the next 5 years. Yeah, at least 5 years, maybe 3 years or 4 years. I will see how long I need to bring peace, justice and order to this part of the world. Good. Nothing else happened here on the map. So losing 2 destroyers is not nice, but it will also not really have a big impact like losing Kaga. That for sure. It's only 2 destroyers, that's it. Thank you all. See you next time. Take care. Bye bye.